Welcome to Therapy Paranormal. My name is Pax with my co-host Dalton. This is going to be season 3, episode podcast number 9, and it is titled Family Connection. And I will get into that in a little bit and explain that to all the listeners. But before I do, how are you doing this lovely evening there, Dalton?
Well, how are you doing, Pax?
Hey, I'm still going on. So, it's a
I
win.
know, but every episode you always ask me how I'm doing. I never really say, "How are you? How are you, sir?"
There we go. I am good, sir. Thank you for checking in.
No, I'm doing good, man, and I just want to apologize to everybody for being a little timely on the next episode. Just life gets in the way, especially with me driving a truck. It's been kind of hectic out here lately with diesel prices up and stuff, and just having to move a lot quicker. So plus, it doesn't help that I'm cutting through 2 other time zones, and you're in the 3rd time zone, so our time zones never latch up either, but just wanted to let people know we apologize for being a little bit late on the next episode, but here we are.
Yep, here we are. So, as
What's on
I
the burner tonight?
on the burner tonight, as I said, the title of this podcast is going to be Family Connections. And what that means is when things get a little bit more personal for individuals that experience things that they may not be used to, or maybe they are, just depends on the way the family is, the family dynamic. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what it's like for an individual being a parental figure, discovering that their child or children, plural, non plural, depends on the way it is, or teenagers, or even full grown adults that were kids, have an ability. And what I mean by ability is able to do something metaphysically paranormal related, if you want to call it that, that is normally not really talked about in circles of life. And what I mean by that is discovering if somebody's empathic or intuitive or able to have dreams that come true, or maybe to feel energy or sense energy from animals or people or environments, or maybe feel vibrations of things, maybe see auras, for instance, even spirits or ghosts, if you want to say that also. It just depends. There's tons of different things out there that individuals can, depending on the way their life is, and I think a lot of it comes down to genealogy or genetics, DNA, ancestry is predicated upon for what somebody may be prone to or be able to do.
Well, you can also go into mediums, psychics, tarot card readers. The dream part is kind of, if you're dreaming something and it comes to reality, it's kind of foresight. So those are the most common ones that people know. They know about psychics, mediums, tarot card, palm readers, maybe a little bit about astral projection, but I think what we're about to get into is something totally a little bit different.
Yes, definitely is a little bit different. So, the reason for this particular podcast is we had a listener by the name of Sandy from Germany that wrote a nice long email to me and Dalton. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Listener of Therapy Paranormal for a while and wanted to get some advice, some direction, some navigation of what's going on for this particular scenario for her and her husband. And
Before we do this though, I just want everybody to understand again that this is our opinion. So when people ask us questions, we're just giving what we think. We're not giving like advice that's permanent or definite. We're just trying to explain what we've been through or what we know, especially someone like me that I've been dealing with this for a very long time. Pax has been dealing with his stuff for a long time. I've been dealing with it since I was born. So though I didn't have anybody to help me or explain to me what's going on, I just want people to know that we're not telling her that these are facts. We're just giving opinions about the subject and what might could help her. If anybody out there has kids with abilities and you've learned to grasp that part of it, and it might be because you have an ability yourself and it got carried down to your children. If you have kids with abilities and you have a grasp on it and you kind of maybe got some insight yourself, feel free to email us and tell us what you do that we can relay to her. But the episode tonight is just to let it clear that this is our opinion. This is just our outlook on how we're going to answer this. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yep, I fully agree. So, with that being said, with the limited information that I was able to receive, basically what was imparted to me, explained to me, was that Sandy is of an individual that has been graced with the ability of healing. And what I mean by that, by healing, I mean by in some circles, you can have the phrase laying of hands or using white light or doing different things to help people alleviate pain temporarily or permanently or illnesses. Just depends. And this has always been a natural ability of hers. Now, as far as it goes, this ability is something that has just always been there. And if and when life happens the way it does, she would assist with people that needed help, which was a very special thing to do and a wonderful thing of being able to use an ability to assist people in need when modern medicine and science and everything else wasn't really providing an answer or relief, potentially. Now, the reason why I bring all that up is this. As I said, it was just a natural ability for Sandy. And there was a special day in Germany, May 1st. And on May 1st, as far as it goes, it is a very important day for many, many reasons. It depends on different things that you think about or believe in, but a lot of it has to do with the springtime. And during the springtime, it's about a festival, about crops, about the rebirth of the land, things going forward. It's very coveted and magical, per se. And basically, you're transitioning to Beltane. And it's a very important festival for growth and prosperity. And on this particular night, Sandy was sitting out by the fire with her husband and son at night. And Sandy has the ability to feel energy. So she talked to her son about it. And next thing you know, they are able to feel each other's energy back and forth via the fingertips without even touching, but yet their fingers are moving back and forth. And this was the first time that she discovered that her son, from what I understand, could do something. So, with that being said, it went from being something that an individual could do their whole life to saying, hey, now this is more personal because my son or daughter has an ability, and as a parent, have to navigate how to protect the child or teenager or adult, have to guide them, and have to make sure that they get the right advice and guidance to make sure everything happens the way it's supposed to correctly. It was stated on their belief system that all of this comes from ancestral, meaning genetics, meaning your birthright, meaning your history, your lineage, which I also believe in. That's how these abilities get passed down generational. So the big thing about this is, from my experience, this happens 3 ways normally. 1, a person grows up and they never ever speak to anybody about their abilities if they have any, and they're unsure about them and they keep it to themselves and they just grow up with them and they just try to manage the best they can. The second way that I've seen this happen with multiple people I've spoken with is, unfortunately, with abilities, it takes a lot of toll on somebody that doesn't understand something, which is completely, it's on par for what's happening. If you don't have the education and understanding, and then all these weird things happen, it kind of gets to you. With that being said, individuals try to figure all this out, and then they get brought to doctors and psychologists and you name it, therapists and medication, and everybody tries to explain it away. And unfortunately, it has nothing to do with any of that. It's just a natural ability. So then a person is succumbing to modern medicine. The third way this has went from people I've spoken to, which to me is the best option. Families are aware that there's something special about their bloodline or lineage. And if and when they notice the teenagers or children or adults start developing or manifesting abilities, then they kind of get pulled to the side and say, hey, let's talk about this. Your grandma had this same ability, or your grandfather did, or your aunt, or your niece, or your uncle, or this is a family thing. Explaining it in a safe, contextual way to state this is normal for us. Maybe not for everybody else, but for us. And what that is doing is setting the precedence of fostering an environment of safety and learning. Because I can tell you from my personal experience, I never spoke to anybody about me being intuitive or a little bit empathic or feeling energy. I just happened to figure it out and did it, and that was it. There was never any mentors. There was never any guidance from anybody. There never was, cliff notes. There was nothing. And it's very, at times, stressful when you're enduring and doing something by yourself that you don't understand, but yet it's prevalent in your life every day. So, to circle back around here, the situation for Sandy is she's concerned about her son having abilities now, and the best way to navigate with giving him advice and going forward. The thing that I am happy about and I'm proud about is that she spoke to him about all this. And because of that, there's a dialogue now. So this becomes a family item that's communicated about. So at that point, it's a matter of how you want to go about it, in my opinion. Do you want to foster a safe environment where they get to learn about whatever ability it is that they have? Encourage it? Maybe put it on the shelf and keep it away for a while until they maybe get a little bit older or understand or in a better headspace so that way they can focus? I think it depends on where somebody is in their life for them to be able to decide what is best for them. So ultimately, it's going to be the decision of the parent to decide what is best for their child or teenager or adult kid. It just depends. I, looking at all this logically, could recommend to find, if it's convenient, individuals that are local that could potentially help foster and give guidance for whatever said ability it is that the son has. If that's something that the parents decide going forward, yeah, we want to have this individual become comfortable with what's going on and understand what's going on and going from there. Or very well, it could be not right now, not a good time, too much, maybe a little bit more life lessons in life, maybe more growing up before we get into that area. So that's just the short version of the uh, contact that me and Dalton received in reference to this. Now, I will say, from the many of individuals that I've met, it's kind of been all over the place. Some people, they were very religious growing up, and then they came into their own with all these different abilities, and it went against everything they were taught. So it really caused a lot of conflict. Some people, it just happened out of nowhere, or it happened after something medically happened, some sort of trauma that there was a surgery in place or something happened to the body physically, for instance, and then an ability just materialized. Sometimes people read books and then they're able to manifest and develop abilities. But ultimately, all in all, from my experience, from everybody I've met, the majority of people that I've been able to talk to, luckily, and understand their personal stories, it's hereditary. So, so now that I said all that, Mr. Dalton, what do you have on your mind that you're thinking about?
Well, I'm going to go kind of in the left, right, and center field like I normally do.
There you go.
So I'm going to start out by finishing what kind of you were explaining, and I'm going to go a little different direction.
Sure.
Not denying your. I agree with what you said. Just let me state that. I'm just going to say she has an ability already as a healer, and I would say that she is more than sufficient to guide her son in whatever he's doing. Now, I'm going to get into a few multiple things that read that you didn't really mention, but let's because I'm a dissector. I'm going to break it down. We're going to dissect this. So, but on my opinion, as far as you can seek help, you can do that. But if she has an ability already, do you really want to seek help from others at this point, or do you want to try to guide your own child the way that you feel? Because everybody does it different, and she might not feel like that these other people are going to do what it kind of like you know I don't know, blowing in the wind. You're going around and you're not liking what these people are saying or doing or trying to do. So that's a good idea for a second. I say a second deal, but the first deal would be to try to handle it yourself. When I was born and I started having these abilities that I have, there was no one there to help, and I just kind of weeded through it. At first, I thought it was a joke, just dream, seeing things, hearing things, and blah blah blah. Well, like I said before in multiple podcasts, when the TV shows come out and you're actually able to talk about it, then I started kind of. I was already growing up, but then I started talking to people about it and getting advice from people and saying, hey, what do I feel like makes sense to me? And the thing is, my youngest daughter, has some abilities that she picked up from me. Now, I never really researched where mine came from or might have come from, and she might want to do that. Like she might want to look back through the family and see if anybody else had any kind of abilities that might have passed down to her, but it came down as a healing deal. Like, if you don't mind me saying about you, I know that you can like hold somebody's hand and take the sadness or the hurt and make them a little happier. I've seen you do it. So, uh, her being a healer is kind of the same. She's basically probably grabbing their hand and taking the pain or the hurtness away, or however she's doing it. So I think she's more than capable enough is what I was looking for to be able to guide her own child through this. I don't see anything out of the norm that's heavy, that's like really heavy that he's doing. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing like really serious. Like he's doing so she said like he manipulated some smoke around the fire. Okay, but there's I mean there's not really anything telling me that there's anything really of emergency or fear to be afraid of or anything. It's just something normal that he's doing that he might have got from her, and I think she can handle it. I think she can handle the task of guiding her child. And when it becomes a thing where she don't think she can do it, then yes, go seek out secondary help. But let's break this down on what they're doing though. So she says she's in the spirituality and nature, right? So she's part of the earth. Is
Correct.
that what I read?
Yep, correct.
O- Okay. So what she didn't explain is if she if she's a druid, if she studies Wicca, shamanism, there's there's various forms of paganism, which you remember the young lady from North Carolina we did an episode that I brought in. She's a pagan,
Mhm.
like she does the paganism, and it often involves like rituals and ceremonies, blah blah blah, and it's designed to honor the earth. So they can basically go hiking, they can do harvesting. Now, when you mention harvesting, that deals with what you mentioned, which was the what was that, Beltane or something?
Beltane.
Beltane. Okay. So basically, it's a Gaelic festival celebrated on May 1st, like you said, but it's often called a Bright Fire Festival, and it historically honored the sun and involved rituals like lighting bonfires to ensure protection, purification, and abundance for people and livestock. So the significance of this event, it's the start of a pastoral season when livestock were driven out to summer pastures. It's derived from an old Irish Gaelic idea, and it's commonly, like I said, interpreted as the bright fire or lucky fire. And it links to the Celtic sun gods Belenus. Traditional customs of lighting massive bonfires, often two to pass between them, decorating with, say, flowers and making May bushes. But today it's celebrated by neo pagans and in the Celtic cultures with maypoles, like welcoming the warm season. So it says neo pagan. So I'm going to kind of say maybe she is a pagan. She practices the paganism part.
I think from what I was able to surmise from the message, I think it was leaning more towards just natural earth belief systems for things like that. So,
Okay, so then you're basically so like people that are usually a healer, if she considers herself a healer that has deep ties with nature, is often called a shaman, a herbalist, or an ecotherapist.
yeah, yeah, something along the lines, maybe around that genre. I don't know 100% the belief system or value system for what they believe in, but it could be anything from the Germanic gods, the Norse gods. I mean, it's everything's wide open. So it just depends
Exactly.
on
That's what I'm saying. So I
right.
really can't give advice because I don't know exactly what she feels she is.
Hmm.
She's a healer, of course, but
Right.
what do you practice? What is the main practice that you're doing? So you can do like in Beltane, you can do fire and purification. Fire represents a purifying force to protect against evil and bring good fortune. Then you have the fertility and growth, where it is a time when the earth is buzzing with life, marking a celebration of abundance. Then you have, like, say, midpoint is a cross quarter day falling midday between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So there, what I'm trying to get at is when you celebrate Beltane, there's so much involved in that. So what part of directly are you celebrating? So when you go to the natural, spiritual earth, it just there's I guess what I'm saying, there's just a wide variety with that. What part are you doing?
Right.
So I'm just gonna say, like, she kind of mentioned that basically they were sitting there, and I was trying to reread what she wrote just to be sure. But anyway, she was sitting there around the fire, and she basically held her hand out or something to
Mhm.
see
Yeah.
what he sees.
Yep, held her finger out to him, and he put his finger out, and I guess she was able to see it, and he was able to see the energy between them, basically. And then from that, he was able to produce energy off his own fingers and manipulate it, which is
Well,
to me
she said,
sounds pretty cool. So,
well, it is cool. That is cool. But I think she was saying that she did say like she was holding her hand out or something because she said between my fingers, like he can. She was trying to show her son the energy between her fingers,
yeah.
and the simple thing was that he actually began like to see it, like he was able to see it. She thought it was kind of amazing, I guess, just for him to pick up on it and see it, like he could see the aura. And then that's when he started to interact with smoke, and then it basically began to form forms from this smoke, like make images or something out of the smoke with his energy. Now, that is cool, but there's nothing to be scared of. She said she was scared a little bit. There's nothing to be scared of. Did she ever say, one thing I haven't seen is, did she ever say, oh, she did, is 11 years old?
I believe. Yeah, young teenager or almost.
Yeah, 11 year old. So he's still in that open mindedness, and the I guess without really knowing what they do and what they practice, it's hard for me to really dive into anything. But I could say that what I would do, basically, I would kind of, watch and, throw a little protection out there if you need, but let him come into his own. Just keep an eye on him, and let him kind of figure it out, what he what's going on, how he's going to handle it, if he wants it. That's another main thing. If he wants these abilities. Now, right now, at 11 years old, he probably thinks, Harry Potter, man, I'm pretty cool,
Maybe.
uh, but maybe when he gets older, it becomes something a little bit more, and he don't want to deal with it. And you got to teach him how to shut that down, shut it off. That's some of the best things to do too. Right now, I wouldn't bother with him. I would just keep doing what you're doing, and let him grow with it, and just keep an eye on him. I don't, because part of me says, just let him go. Just do it and let him come into his own on it. But the other part says, yeah, mentor a little bit, protect. Never doubt. Like if your kid has an ability, the worst thing you can do is doubt them. Don't doubt them, because then it becomes a fear factor. It becomes fear, and it becomes a thing of, to a point where they even think they're going crazy in a way. Like I'm seeing these things, I'm hearing these things, but my parents are just telling me, it's fooey. Don't worry about it. It's just dreams and nightmares. No, why don't ask questions? Ask questions about it. And like, if you're, I don't know how many times I've said this, but how many investigations we've been, and people go, well, my child sits there and talks to their imaginary friend, and we're both like, well, what if it wasn't imaginary?
That
you
would
know?
be 142. I'm just joking.
Yes. Well, it's probably close. So,
Right, right.
but it's there's a lot of stories out there that she can look up. People see it, kids, the abilities, paranormal abilities. I mean, if you had a kid that was psychic, or I don't know, has foresight, Like, your kid wakes up one morning and says, on this day at this time, your washing machine is going to break down, and it does. And you're like, the first time, you're just kind of like looking at your kid like, wow, okay. He didn't really say anything, he or she. They didn't say anything. Then the next time they go, you're going to drop a glass on the floor on this day at this time. And it happens. And now you're thinking, this is becoming a little bit. This is the second time this happened. Let's say it happens a third or fourth time. They predict what's going to happen in the house. Then you kind of wonder. Now you're talking. Let's say the family has no abilities at all, but this all of a sudden the child has something going on, but it's in their dreams. It's foresight. They're foreseeing this happening. As a kid, you don't know how to explain that. You can let's say I'm 10 years old and I'm telling my mom, "Hey, this is what's gonna happen." And it happens. As a kid, it's, "Man, that's cool. Let's do this again." So, you go back to sleep, a couple of days later, you have another dream, and you go tell your mom that this is gonna happen on this. You're not saying what's going on, how you're getting this information. You're not saying much. You're 10 years old. You don't know how to say that. So, it happens again, and at first, they're gonna think it's cool because it's funny because their mother's gonna look at them like, "How are you doing that? Like, how are you?" And eventually they're gonna laugh, they're gonna giggle, and they'll say, "Oh, I got superpowers," or whatever, because that's 10-year-olds. Maybe not today, but eventually they're gonna say, "Well, I dreamed this. Like, I've had dreams with this." And the best thing to do if they come out and actually tell you how they're able to do it is to sit down and just talk with them. Figure it out, dissect it. What's your dreams really about? What do you think you're feeling when you're dreaming this, or what's going on? And talk to them about it. Don't deny it and say, "Oh," because the proof's already there, right? The kid already predicted what's going to happen, and it happened. It's the same thing with any ability. If he's manipulating smoke with his energy, well, you're at Beltane now. Did this festival amp his energy levels? Did it have an effect on him and amp him up to be a little bit more powerful?
Well, potentially.
Since
You know?
Or did the mother's energy intertwine with his energy? Because it only happened after he and her were like, she was showing her energy and he's seen it. Did her energy boost his levels to where he could do that?
Hmm.
But see, without knowing exactly what she practices, I can't really dissect that. I'm just giving out what might have happened there. Or it could have been a mixture of both between the festival and the bonfire going on. What they were celebrating might have basically boost his level along with her being there. It was like a conductor. She was a conductor for his energy, and so was his festival. So it's I think it's a little bit of both. Like, being at the festival was a great thing, celebrating the earth, the nature. Those people are way more powerful in the woods, around isolated nature, basically. In the city, not so much because there's not really a feel of nature. It's concrete and asphalt. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You get out to the woods where you can actually go. I'm sure they were barefoot. I'm sure I can almost see them right now, barefoot, building a bonfire, getting the sand, the soil, the grass, whatever was beneath them, in between their toes. They could feel it. Like, so, you have so many pores in your feet that the aura is a lot stronger down there. That's your grounded, like your what, red aura, I think it was, is your grounding aura.
Mhm.
So they're able to probably take in like your left side of your body is your, I think it's your left side of your body where you take in more of the paranormal than the right side or something. But anyway, the feet, if you that's why a lot of Buddhists and stuff, they walk around barefoot, because if they walk around with socks and shoes on, then the energy is not getting to them as quickly as it would if they walk barefoot and actually feel nature underneath their feet. So they're probably, I could see them probably out there barefoot, They're celebrating this festival, and all of a sudden, this 11-year-old child just starts doing things that puts her in awe, but she's in fear because she doesn't quite understand what's going on. Now, maybe this podcast isn't only for her son, but also maybe to help her understand what's going on. Did you ever think about that?
Well, potentially, potentially. I think the important thing, though, with this, besides our theory, is to potentially look around wherever it is to you locally, Sandy, and see if there's anybody around that might be intuitive or might do stuff with energy or empathic or that has abilities to get advice from, guidance, because sometimes it's a lot easier to have a sit down with somebody and talk to somebody in person versus just do it through a message on a phone or an email or a phone call. Now, granted, if that's not an option or you can't find anybody anywhere, then definitely defer to the internet to see what is around for you that you could use as resources. The thing is that all of this is very difficult to navigate and handle because what works for one person may not work for somebody else. So ultimately, my theory slash recommendation is take time with everything and really learn to discover what innate abilities your son has and make a list. And then that way you can track and see if things are progressing, getting stronger, maybe some things stop or things get added to what your son can do. Now, I know it was expressed and conveyed in the message that you're able to do things too, but you want to be able to properly guide and help your son. So,
Well, let's break that down a little bit
yep,
because I found my notes on it.
there you go.
I was looking around in my truck and I'm like, I know I put this piece of paper somewhere. So basically, like I said before, you want to validate, don't dismiss the actual what's going on, the phenomena. So key approaches include open communication using calming techniques for fear. So first of all, Sandy, if something scares you or you're a little nervous or whatever, calm yourself. Calm down. It's okay. Because if the child right now at 11 years old, like I said, he's amazed by it. He's gonna play with it. He's gonna say, "Man, like I said, he feels like a wizard, like Harry Potter." He's probably, if he watches Harry Potter, he's doing it without a wand. It's amazing to him. It's gonna be something spectacular doing this stuff. So calm everybody down, calm yourself down, establish boundaries, teach the children they can politely but firmly do what they're doing. If it becomes a spirit thing, like say, I don't think this is going to be the case, but if it becomes a spirit thing, then kind of have them ignore that, the spirit. If something else is trying to step in and guide them in the wrong way, because that could happen. They could be doing things and pick up on something because now they're open. They can pick something else up that can step in and try to manipulate them to go the wrong way with their ability. So again, if you experience a frightening, encourage a negativity cleanse if you need to, where you control the environment. That's the biggest thing. Make sure you control the environment. Make sure that your child understands about controlling the environment. So you want to encourage to treat this experience. I'm not going to use the G word. I don't like using the word gift. I don't feel like I feel like when you say gift, you're putting yourself on another pedestal, and I don't look at it that way. You can say that. I just don't. I call it an ability. It was an ability, was handed down, and to make them understand what's going on. So why don't you might sit down and explain to your son that you're a healer and that you guys are spiritualists for nature, like you feed off of nature, and explain all that to him to make him kind of understand where this is coming from is a good thing to do. We talked about seek like-minded community, look for groups or events such as children's weeks at spiritual centers. they do have, I know they do have, I don't know about Germany, but I know over here they do have groups of people that get together. Like, I don't want to say like I'm just going to say a meeting, a meeting, and you go there and there's other like-minded people. If this something, trying to handle it yourself doesn't suit you, then I suggest Pax kind of mentioned it too, looking for other people. I'm saying look for groups. See if there's any kind of groups where there's other parents bringing children that have abilities to a meeting, and then you have one person trying to talk and everybody explaining their experiences and one person trying to dissect what's going on to try to help you deal with it. To me, that's a last resort. I would do that on a last resort. Again, she hasn't really said much about herself, and that's what I want to know. Like, I want to know, did anybody help you when you found out that you can do what you do, or did you do it on your own? So that takes in a lot of credibility on what can be done with the child, and that's why I'm leaning on her just doing it herself. Now, you can, if there's different emotions that pop up from the energy they might be picking up from other spirits. This is what I just mentioned. Being that he's open and he's able to do what he's doing, he might pick up on other things, or he might pick up on something a little darker than what you want. Pay attention to that. You definitely want to pay attention to the the negative or the dark energy. I don't want to say negative because a lot more negative energy is positive than it is negative. People, like I've said this before, people look at the word negative and they automatically assume negative. That is not true. A lot of negative energy is actually positive. So let's go with dark energy. Let's say him opening up the aura, opening up sight, and being able to manipulate smoke and do all that. He's got to let you know that something just wasn't right, like it wasn't normal, and then try to talk to him and have him explain what part wasn't right. And if it seems like some kind of dark energy is starting to pick up or he's pulling it in, he could pull that in himself. It's a thing of he's open minded, he's doing what he's doing. Oh, here's something else. And without even realizing, he's not going to realize that he just pulled that dark energy in and now it's becoming something a little different. So just pay attention to that, I would say. If you're a Wiccan, if you deal with Wiccan, a lot of those use crystals like onyx and what is it, obsidian, to help children feel secure. If you need to use crystals, keep some crystals laying around in the room or something in his bedroom to make him feel a little secure. I don't think that's the case right now. I think right now he's pretty secure with what's going on because it's new and it's very amazing to him that he's able to do this. Also, maintain a normal, stable daily routine to help ground them. Try to figure out, okay, so you're at this festival and he picks up on your energy. He's picking up on the festival energy, and his energy just grew, and he's able to do something that you have not seen. Try it if you want. My opinion only. Again, this is all opinionized. Try to let him feed off your energy again, see what he does. And then try to do like a daily routine, a normal, stable daily routine to help ground him. You need to keep him grounded. That's part of the safety part is keep him grounded. And you just maybe letting him, you and him in a room by yourselves, see what he can do. If you got to light a candle and let a little bit of smoke come off the candle, see if he starts to manipulate that. If he cannot do that, then that tells you that that festival had a lot of energy flowing with all the people that were there doing the same thing, fueled him, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does.
So,
It does.
so just a few things outside the box that this ain't your normal thing because obviously one thing that it doesn't I shouldn't use the word concern. The thing that amazes me is that he's 11 years old, and if he did pick up all that other energy that was going on around because you had everybody doing the same thing. Everybody celebrating the same thing. There's a lot of energies floating around there. And if he was able to suck some of that in, he didn't even know that he did it. You doing what you did to me kind of opened up his mind to what's going on and you kind of talking to him with that. Then you were wondering, okay, he's seen this pretty quick. Like he's seen your energy, your aura, he's seen it, and you thought it was pretty quick. Again, that's all from the other energies. So, like me, when I walk into an investigation and I get a medium or a psychic, we start feeding off each other. You remember that one investigation we did? We brought a psychic in, and I started naming off things that were happening. And then, of course, one guy was like, "Oh, don't say that. Let her do it." And I'm like, and she's like, "No, we're actually feeding off. Like we're energizing each other."
Yep.
You remember that?
Sure do.
So I know firsthand how that can be done because I've done it several times. Actually, that was the first time that ever happened to me, and then other times the same way. Like if there's a medium, a psychic, even a tarot card reader, I can pick up on their ability, the energy of their ability, as though they can pick up on mine, and it feeds us and makes us stronger. So together we're a force to reckon with. And that's kind of, and I don't know if I explained that just right, but that's kind of what he was doing was like, now he's around all these other people that are just putting out all these energies, and he happened to pick up enough that all of a sudden it woke his ability up. Basically, that's what I was kind of looking for.
Hmm.
The word woke. It woke him up, and he was playing with it. That's what the forms in the smoke was. He realized he can actually manipulate things. So all in all, there is there is some stories that you can look up with people that have children with abilities. There's one in the UK. She reported that her child and Jaden and Lucy began seeing ghosts and talking to spirits around 2011. They were 8 and 6. They claimed to be visited by spirits and angels, describing these encounters as natural, not hoaxes. There's a bunch of stories on here about people with kids. Now, do they actually go into, and that's just a reference I'm throwing out there if she wants to look some stuff up online. They don't actually go into how they're handling it. It's just stories about people with kids with different abilities. So you can feel free to go online. There's going to be a lot of stuff on there that is probably way out and way out of the ballpark. Like you're going to know that automatically because of your ability. You're going to read through some of the BS and just pick out some things that make sense to you, and that could help you also, you know, get through this. But I think I wholly think, in my feeling, in my inside, my gut is telling me that Sandy, you got this. Like you can control, you can take care of this yourself. I think you have what it takes. You already have an ability, and I think you can just do it. I think you can guide your son to the proper way, do some little routines every now and just make sure that he's not picking up any of the dark stuff. You'll know because it'll become different than what you're used to. And that's what the routine is for. Spend 10 or 15 minutes a day talking to him about it, making him understand, asking how he feels, what's he sensing, what's if he's dreaming, what's those about, just get into detail about stuff for like 10 or 15 minutes a day or every other day, a couple times a week, whatever you want. And then that way you have a pattern in your head, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and what he's doing. If that changes, then you know something else is getting involved, and that's when you got to take another step towards trying to get him to shut that part down, if not to shut it all down. I don't want to see him shut it all down. I want to see him grow up with this gift and see what he's capable of doing. I said gift, I know. The ability.
Yeah. Yep.
But I want to say, yeah, I done read things that said gift like 20 times and now it's in my head. My bad. It's the ability. I want him to grow up with the ability and see what he can do, see where he can go with it. Because healing, number one, props to you, Sandy, for being a healer and helping people. You know, that's just, you're a hero in my book. So if your son can grow up with an ability to do such things, that's a hero in my book. Like you're helping people. And also if you can help people understand what it is that's happening, that props in my book. You got thumbs up all the way around. So I just say handle it the best way that you can. And I hope that anything that we said on this podcast could help you move forward. And don't ever be afraid. You got to own it. You got to take it no matter what he does. You just got to own it, because if he sees or feels the fear coming out of you, then it's going to scare him, and that's not what you need.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
anyway,
I
I hope
compl
that kind of helps out.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And like I said, ultimately, go with your instincts and go with your intuition, your inner core, Sandy, on how things are going. And definitely look via the internet for resources, people, to see if anybody's close that maybe you can find a mentor or a guide or a helper in reference to what's going on. The reason why I am not giving any particular names or organizations or any direct, basically pointing to say, go here, is because I firmly believe in situations like this, it's going to be organic and it's going to be up to the individual. If I was to give definitive information, say, go here and they're going to be able to do it for you, then I'm promising something. And I can't promise because everybody's unique and different and everybody has a different experience. So, with that
And
being said,
that's why it's always best just to try to handle it yourself. And that's what I was saying earlier, is that everybody's going to have their own opinion, their own decisive way. And then a lot of people you go to, they might not even have the thought process of exactly what's going on with him.
mhm,
So then
exactly.
you're gonna get fed wrong information, and you're gonna treat this totally wrong. I feel like this gift, like my youngest daughter, I deal with her myself. I don't have her go anywhere and, you know, talk talk to just the other day, some of her stuff came back. I locked it down, but some of her stuff, from what I'm hearing from some people that, well, her boyfriend, he told me that they went to a place and she started picking up, like, getting sad all of a sudden, like feeling the energy or something. And so I can't really, she's an adult, so I can't really block anything or do what I did when she was a kid and she was seeing things and feeling things. I did it for a reason, and that was just because she was a little nervous and scared about it. And then I wasn't nervous or scared about it. I just don't like tricksters. I've said this 100 times. I don't like spirits playing games, and when you play games with my kids, that's, you done cross the road. Like, you cross that line, that I'm gonna put an end to it. And that's what you gotta watch out for, is him picking up something that he might think it's good, but it's actually bad. But I think you can do it. I think she can do it by herself. You just never know who you're gonna go talk to. If the person's legit, number 1, there's a lot of fakes out there. Number 1, that's the main thing about it. Make sure they're legit. Make sure they got some kind of references or other people that know them, that help them and was able to guide them in the proper manner. That's a real thing. That's like, I can't express that enough. So like I said, I would keep it in-house at first and just handle it. That's just the way I would do it.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. So, as far as that goes for this podcast, that is going to be pretty much the nuts and bolts of it, as the English
The
term goes,
the gist.
the gist or everything that we were discussing. For anybody, if this is your first time listening to our podcast, we appreciate it. I am Pax. I'm a host. Likewise with Dalton, he's the other host. We are a paranormal podcast. We talk about things of metaphysical and other things related to the paranormal that are strange or weird or not quite widely known about. If you look at our catalog of all our different podcasts, you will see many, many topics and subjects. If you want to learn a little bit more about our podcast, you can go to theoryparanormal.com and you will be able to see my sparkling face my smile and Dalton's smile. Sometimes he smiles. But you'll be able to learn a little bit about us. And you'll be able to see all the different places that we are featured on for platforms and podcast apps. So,
And if you have any questions, you can ask them directly from the website. We also have a Facebook page, Theory of Paranormal Facebook page. Please, if you stop by, I see a lot of people stop by. Like I get a notification that like, we had 50 people view the site. Just send a like if you like what we're doing. Just hit the like button. Eventually, we're going to start doing, and we've been talking about it, and I've been saying it, but eventually we are going to start doing some investigations, and I'll be putting more stuff up on the Facebook page. It's just my job keeps me on the road a lot, so it's hard to do. But if you have any questions, that was a great question, Sandy. Again, thank you for that. If anybody else has any questions or ideas for a podcast, feel free to message us. Let us know what you're thinking. If you want us to look at any evidence, pictures, videos, and we can keep it on the down low. We don't have to put it out here on air and reply to you on what we think you're looking at, or if it's kind of not enough evidence to decide what's going on. But either way, email us, send us an idea for a podcast. We're more than happy to build one around your idea. Or if you got a question like Sandy, you want to know something, we'd be happy to get on here and talk about it.
oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. And just to let everybody know, at theoryparanormal.com, there's a platform where you can send us a quick instant message and we will get it and we can get back to you in real time. At the bottom of the webpage, it will list our email address, which is info@theoryparanormal.com. You can email us. There's actually a toll-free number that you can call. Some people like to reach out and actually call us on the phone. And if we don't pick up, you can leave a voicemail. We will get back to you. Some people like doing that versus doing an instant message or email. So you can also reach out to us that way. We are more than happy to review any evidence that you may have of anything of the paranormal sort that is audio related, video related, photo related. And we are more than happy to give our professional opinion. Sometimes we have people reach out to us in reference that are fellow paranormal professionals or people just starting out getting into being an investigator. Due to mine and Dalton's background, we are more than happy to lend advice and give information should you have anything that you're trying to figure out, you got something that's stumping you that you just don't have an answer on, or you just want to reach on out to us and say, hey, we love the podcast. You guys are funny. You guys are great. Keep it up. Good job. And we'll listen more. So we get nice emails like that also, which we definitely appreciate. As
And again, this is all our theory. Our advice is basically a theory, our opinion, what we've been through. None of it is factual, or we're trying to tell somebody that this is a promise or that this is exactly what you should do. We're just giving it. Our advice is just opinionated and theory. It's just want to make that very clear, because I did have somebody one time come up to me and ask, how do you give advice to somebody and tell them what they should do? And I said, well, wait a minute, because we don't tell them what they should do. We just give opinions on what we think they should do, and we make it very clear these are our opinions and theories. So just want everybody to understand that we're not telling anybody to exactly do this. We're just throwing stuff out there, and if they take it, and it actually, a lot of times we've seen a lot of our opinions, a lot of our theories on what to do is it actually helps and it actually does work. But that's where we're at with that. So I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to tell people what they should actually do, if that makes sense.
without a doubt there. Now, with everything we just said, we appreciate all you wonderful listeners. And if you have a good idea for a podcast that you want to know about, you want to hear about, you want to listen to, feel free to reach out and let us know, and we can discuss it, me and Dalton, and we'll even let you know. So, as far as that goes on Family Connections, this is season 3, episode podcast number 9 for Theory Paranormal. That is all we have. So, as we say here at Theory Paranormal, don't be afraid ask questions.